I think this is what it takes, like the question before the DAOs is like, we actually need a generational change of people that understand these at their basic structural level mindset thing, or people like you that can actually undress of who they were and become a new person. So this is a personal question. How did you do it? How did you have the balls?
I'd say that I luckily gained a little bit of financial viability through the space and then through finance and investments I've made in general. We're probably at the beginning of a multi-decade, if not multi-score decade, so many 20s of or 50s of years uh, infrastructural shift. And we're lucky enough to be in the space where we're curious and kind of economic and emotionally anti-fragile enough to jump in. And so I was losing sleep um, going into my Goldman office, or working with clients, because I realized that this would be the biggest regret of my life if I didn't give up like the TradFi dream, to just make money and go after a bottom line, as opposed to like working inside this industry and being part of changing the world. So it was really an avoidance of regret, because I knew, like, in 20, 30 years, I probably have 20 years of good work time in my life left, that if I wasn't in this, I would regret it on my deathbed. So I had to do it. I had to, I guess.
Okay, that requires a lot of vision, courage. Yeah, indeed. I love the anti-fragile statement.
Yeah,
Love that
so
book, by the way.
yeah, the Web3 life chose you apparently. So now that we're talking about, personal careers, I'm actually curious, how did your past career lead you to Web3 and why you're here today?
So a little bit similar to Kyle, I worked at KPMG, so big four accounting firm. Was pursuing my CPA. Woke up every single day. Nothing against KPMG. I did not love what I was doing. What I did love was learning about blockchain and crypto every free second I had after work, on weekends. At the time, when I started falling in down the rabbit hole, was like 2015. There wasn't YouTube channels like there was now on it. It was harder to find information. So going to networking events and meeting people that actually liked the space was absolutely thrilling. So for me, it was similar to how someone just knows they want to be a chef, or someone knows they want to be a doctor, or whatever it might be that they're super passionate about. I've never felt this way about another industry. So what I did was basically went to the partner of innovation at KPMG and said, I only want to be doing blockchain and crypto. At the time, there was a knowledge gap in anyone that knew anything about the space. So I became the translator between what do these companies do? Can we potentially audit them? And if so, great, I'll be on it and I'll lead the file because I actually understand what's going on. So that was the start. Ended up joining a company called Bitfarms, which was one of North America's largest Bitcoin mining companies. And now Figment. It's just following the passion for the space. I would never look back. And for the first time in my life, I can say that I cannot imagine doing anything else for the rest of my life. So like Kyle said, we're so early. So as opposed to people being complacent and thinking that they're late and it's too complicated, I don't want to get into it. I encourage everyone to just start falling down that rabbit hole, because you could be the next greatest mind in this space. It doesn't take that long to ramp up. So yeah, get to it. The community is amazing too. Ask for help all the time. Everyone's there to help. Join the Discords, like Kyle said. Join crypto Twitter and just be in the space constantly. And I guarantee you'll be on your 2 feet in no time.
You guys embody the word passion.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah, that's beautiful. Gregor, let's hear your story. I know you have something to share as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's, in that sense similar. I've also done many years in the traditional corporate world. In my case, it was consulting. And as it goes with consulting, at some point you get to to a decision point, right? Either you stay in consulting and you retire in consulting, or if it's not the one thing that still makes you get out of bed in the morning, then you need to make a change. At that point, I didn't know yet what the change will be. So that's a little different versus what Kyle mentioned, who felt this new technology and this excitement. I didn't feel it back then. But I decided I have to leave the consulting world, and then I traveled. And what I saw while traveling in Africa, in Asian emerging markets, really inspired me. And that's where my whole passion started to develop about microfinance. I saw all these people, paying with their mobile phones back in 2015 in East Africa. And I'm like, why is it not possible that once I'm back in another country, why can't I send $5 to someone in Dar es Salaam? Why not? We had like 3,200 e-wallets all over the world. 99% do not speak to one another. So you can't, there's absolutely no interoperability. And that led me to payments. Then I built the first social payments app that was in the Philippines. Again, we run into a lot of challenges because of scalability issues. The infrastructure rails were just not there for user-to-user payments, specifically small value. Everything that the financial world has built was remittance. I actually still remember conversations from 2015, 16, where we were raising some money back then, where people asked me, what is the use case for person-to-person payments except supporting a family member? And like now we are here, and in this case, everyone had a different way into crypto. But the one thing that Bitcoin has proven from the get-go, and then everything that followed after, is there are so many use cases for peer-to-peer once you set the infrastructure and the foundation up at the right level, right? So long story short, pivoted the company around, and then we basically built Wallet Engine, which is a regulated company that provides the entire stack for apps with cross-border users to bring wallets embedded into the user journey. And as part of that, we got into a lot of touch with traditional insurance companies, with lending companies that said, hey, if you guys are operating all these wallets in all these apps, why can't we talk to you and use that rail to distribute our products? Because insurance and loans are very unique products. They need a bidirectional money flow. You pay for an insurance, but you may have a claim that comes back. With a loan, you take a loan out and you pay it back. And when it comes to micro and emerging markets, that's usually the cost associated with that is higher than the margin you make on the products. And then we decided, this needs to be built for the industry, this gateway, this connector to all these custodial wallets. That's where the users are. But we can't build it because everything we looked at in crypto that was available at that point was not capable to handle micro transactions. We kind of gave up on it, and then we came across Avalanche, and that changed everything. And so now here we are, building that exactly gateway on the Avalanche blockchain that is micro capable.
Hey, Gregor, I have a question for you. Do you have to educate the end user ever, or most people that are using your platform tend to be already crypto savvy? I'm just wondering is education a hurdle?
That's exactly our mission, that the end user does not need to be educated. So essentially, it's all about making the products available in their existing wallet or bank experience they have. If someone wants to stay with TradFi for the next 5 years, that's fine. But we should still find a way to make the products that come out from DeFi or from hybrid finance, we should still make those products available to those users as well. So it's how basically the product finds its way to the consumer or to the user versus the other way around, the way it is today. You sit down and you figure out, where do you need to place an ad to tell the user that you have a product.
What about you, Josh? Real quick, what are you doing to educate? Is there a base level understanding for Figment? And I know you have multiple verticals from Learn to staking and others, and Figment's a core dev vertical on the graph as well. But Like, how are you experiencing things, and is that changing as more adoption comes into the space?
Yeah, so we have a platform called Learn, which basically allows people, Web2 developers, to build Web3 application. They're incentivized to do so. So we've actually turned it into a DAO. So, like for example, Solana Foundation is part of that DAO. They decide of what network we want to basically coach or train on next, and they will be rewarded. For example, if that's Solana, they'll be rewarded in Solana tokens. So we're helping Web2 developers learn how to build Web3 using our tech stack. And our intention is to be able to use networks like the Graph to have entirely decentralized tech stacks so that Web2 developers now know how to build Web3 on Web3, but their DApp will be 100% entirely decentralized is the end goal. When it comes to staking, our clients tend to be a little more crypto savvy. Our core market is institutional clients, high net worth individuals, VCs. So there's a little less of an education side that's required there. That being said, we're getting more involved in the TradFi side, and that is a lot of education required for traditional finance. Their needs are different. Their risk tolerance is different. And it could be 2 or 3 years out before we ever see a delegation from one of those clients, but we want to be part of that journey.
Keep doing our jobs, guys, please. Feel free.
Yeah. Well, actually, I do want to know, Kyle, at the Graph, right? What kind of like people do you deal with, and then how are they kind of viewing this whole blockchain data thing, Web3, Web2?
Yeah, so I lead business development and partnerships. So anyone that will be using the Graph technology or Graph protocol, I'll kind of oversee and deal with. And everyone who's already dealing with the Graph, I help coordinate as a resource allocator, and just I do everything from help marketing, developer success, like level 1 tech support, and then everything else that comes along with. But what's great about the Graph, there's 31 chains that are integrated now. We're probably adding one every month or so, and eventually it'll be all chains across the entire space. But it's great to be a ubiquitous part of the tech stack. And every application that has information flowing from the blockchain knows how difficult it is because to get data off the blockchain, because everything in crypto has been to put data on the blockchain, right? Oracle's help sift through data and verify data. The blockchains themselves are the ledger, and then when you try to read it, it's under trillions of transactions that are identified by hashes. So doing that manually is horrible. Doing that through a centralized provider is 10x more expensive, and subject to physical, cyber, and now very importantly regulatory attacks. So we try to educate one on the importance of Web3 and decentralized tech stack in general, which is super important, and one thing we should probably hit. But luckily the devs come to us. Sometimes it's a binary, people won't even adapt onto our chain if we don't have the Graph technology, because they don't want to have to sift through data of the blockchain themselves. So it's really easier, but a lot easier for us, because chains and projects are coming to us and saying, please do this. I don't want to run my own archive nodes, or I don't want to use a centralized provider. And we truly want to be called a decentralized app, not just an application in general. But I think that's going to change when Web3 eats the world's data. We're talking to some traditional organizations, companies, and other entities that are looking into this technology. So more to come on that. We'll have to have another one in maybe 6, 12, 18 months, because I could be telling a different story.